You can't just ask me the question, how do I fix my frizz? How? When there are a bajillion potential reasons why. And if you don't know what kind of frizz you have, you're never gonna get to the root problem of it. So in this video, I am going to help you diagnose your frizz. I'm gonna list out the symptoms as well as the solutions so you can stop blaming your hair for your own problems. You're likely the one self-inflicting this frizz, or you're getting advice from the wrong sources. What's good, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Melissa Guido. You may also know me as Mains by Mell. I fear that was a 20-year-old me. Exactly 7 years ago, I came out on the scene sharing tips to help make you a little less frizzy. Today I'm going to talk to you about 5 things the curly girl is doing completely wrong. Now, we have learned a lot since then, so if you would allow me, I'd like to reheat my nachos, make them a little supreme, and give you the update video that you deserve and need. Matter of fact, there are several of my videos that need some updating. Perhaps we're gonna start a series. I hope you're ready to lock in. Class is in session. All right, now wait just a second because that young chef was cooking. Let's quickly recap the best things that I said in that video. You need to stop comparing yourself. Your hair is not going to look like mine because it's yours. We all have different hair. There's so many different factors that determine what your hair is going to look like. Comparison or comparison is the thief of joy. Don't let it take yours. A good hair day starts with your wash. You're applying your product in hair that is already dry. One of the reasons why your hair is horrible is because you're lazy. Do not touch your hair while it is drying. Low-key, maybe high-key, I do touch my hair while it's drying now, but that's for another video. We're focusing on frizz. Now, while all those tips certainly do apply, you may not know when or why, which is why right now, I'm gonna help you identify. Let's get into the categories of frizz. And we have got quite the list, so let's get into it. Starting extreme with damage frizz. You are someone that engages in coloring, bleaching, heat styling, hair Botox, keratin treatment, relaxer, slick backs, sun-in. These are all things that can cause frizzy, damaged hair. The damaged part is important. It can be easy to know if you are a victim if you do partake in those chemical extracurriculars. But just to be sure, this type of damage can manifest in the hair as feeling gummy when it is wet. It can feel extremely fluffy like cotton candy when it is dry. It can also be extremely rough to the touch and not hold a style. I'm talking undefined curls with no curl retention. Not retaining its shape. It's not bouncing back. You want to reevaluate that. I know what you're thinking. Doc, save me. Okay. And all right, you asked for it. So what's happening here? Heat and chemical damage result in a weakened hair structure. The protein bonds in your hair are impaired, and this leads to a loss of elasticity, split ends, loss of moisture, inability to hold its hair shape because it lacks internal structure. And all of this will result in very frustrating styling days and chronic frizz if not treated. And since what's happened is the protein bonds in your hair have broken down, and you likely have a loss of cuticle, which is leaving the hair very rough and leaving the hair vulnerable to split. And the problem with damaged frizz, you can't ever really repair it completely. Besides protein treatments and bond repairing treatments that will help act as a band-aid on the situation, the best course of action is in fact a stainless steel treatment. So that is what I would prescribe you if you do want some over-the-counter recommendations. In my professional opinion, I will put the updated products that I recommend for bond building, repairing, and any other products that I mentioned throughout this video linked in the description box below. Now let's move on to the next category because this is feeling bleak. Let's take this off me. If your hair is giving dull, fluffy, undefined, also rough to the touch, but yet you may not be a victim of coloring, heat, and all the other things, this hair is going to look very poofy, undefined, dull looking, and basically like your strands hate each other, which in a way, they are literally going to repel each other. When the hair is extremely dry and or damaged and not treated, not moisturized accordingly, the outermost layer of your hair, which is the cuticle or cute tickle, think of it like the jacket jacket that your strands are wearing on a freezing day wide open, it's not going to be very effective at keeping the moisture in your hair. And these flaps that you didn't zip, they're gonna cause a lot of friction. That friction between the strands creates static, and that is gonna keep those hairs separate and not clumping too much. The best way to fix really dry, dehydrated frizz is to soak it. Spray bottles are very handy when you are curly, but this step best starts in the shower, actually. Hair that is extremely dehydrated and brittle needs that moisture deep into the hair strand beyond the cuticle. So after soaking your hair in the shower with a warm to hot temperature, it's recommended that you apply a deep conditioner that is rich in both humectants. These are ingredients like glycerin, hyaluronic acid, and propylene glycol that are going to help draw water into your strands, which you should pretty quickly feel soften the hair. Like a flower, your curls should bloom. And if they aren't clumping together and looking chunky together, even after you've added water and moisture, then you may be suffering a different type of frizz. This hair that cannot be saved by water and a conditioner is what's called wet frizz. Your strands can appear very wiry or even cobweb-y. This is hair that's frizzy when it's wet, and if it's already frizzy when it's wet, you better believe it's gonna be frizzy when it dries. There are 3 major causes of wet frizz. Number 1 is not enough water absorption. Especially in the case of curls, you want your conditioners and water to be able to plump your strands. And so even after conditioner, if you're not seeing that definition form, if your strands are still looking like they want to repel one another, you're probably experiencing product buildup. Product buildup is definitely the leading cause of wet frizz, which can also be created if you're not applying your products in the correct order. So, here's how we're gonna fix it. One sec. You're gonna start with the clarifying shampoo. Detox the shit. I want all removed from it. Not just product, minerals, metals, build up. You need a chelating, detoxifying shampoo that you don't use all the time, only when you need to. Perhaps it's a once-a-month ritual. After you've done that, applying your products on soaking wet hair should start to allow you to get some curl clumping in there. Another way I like to fight wet frizz is by distributing that product evenly. Smoothing your product through your strands with a styling brush proves to be very effective at this, making sure you're getting that even application, and or you want to apply in sections, but more on that in a minute. Things are heating up and we need to talk humidity frizz. When you step into a swamp, especially if you have not hydrated your hair accordingly previously and you haven't sealed that moisture in, your hair is going to be prone to osmosis. Osmosis is when water that's in the air is entering into your hair when your hair is thirsty or unprepared. And so to fix it, you want to use products that are high stronghold and anti-humidity, anti-humectant. Anti-humectants basically do the opposite of what a humectant does. Instead of drawing moisture into the hair, it creates a protective barrier, which will prevent any of that transfer of moisture from happening. This prevention aspect is really key in order to stop the hair from potentially frizzing. Some of the best ingredients to act as this barrier and also give a hold on the hair are polyquats, polyquaterniums, PVP. These are ingredients in a formula that will also give a lot of hold to the hair. That's what makes it a little crunchy while you're drying, but that strong hold is what's key to help your style hold up in humidity. You don't need to completely avoid them, but products with lower amounts of humectants like glycerin in it, this can still work and be favorable in humidity if it is a little lower on the ingredients list. In a humid climate, you want your hair products to have higher concentrations of the natural fatty oils or even silicones to help create that barrier that your cuticle is failing at. But it's that hold that is very important. Hair without hold will result in its own type of frizz. unstyled frizz, if you will. Now, just as a disclaimer, I'm not here to judge you or your hair. And maybe I should have said that a little bit earlier, but I am not a fan at all whatsoever of the wash now, style later method. This is as simple as breaking up your wash from your styling. As a participant, so this is what happens when you don't style the hair. Maybe not you, but this is what happens to me, because sometimes I just get too lazy. I lack the necessary energy. This right here is unstyled naked hair. So you're seeing a combination of both my damaged frizz, my dehydrated frizz, and of course, my no styled frizz, because there's nothing that's holding these curls together. We, you, me, unfortunately create a whole different type of problem that is frizzy. Doing nothing to style your hair leaves you with no protective barrier from humidity, from friction between strands, but also mechanical friction when you're brushing with a comb, or brushing up against your clothes, or perhaps sleeping on a cotton pillowcase. This type of friction without protection will eventually lead to your hair being dry and dehydrated, which can also become damaged. It can become fatigued. For example, once you have to do all this manipulating to get it styling, once you finally do, and also just because leaving it unprotected leaves it vulnerable. So at the very least, the bare minimum that should be left in your hair is a leave-in conditioner. This will be that protectant, and then if you don't want to style your naturally curly hair routine, I do also recommend just doing the bare minimum, putting your hair in braids so it doesn't get tangly. By the way, I did just recently post a braid out tutorial, so if you need some inspo for when you're not feeling like styling your curly hair, you can go watch that video. But like I said, that's the bare minimum, and a leave-in conditioner is not a styler. No hold means no definition, which leads to guaranteed frizz. So you're gonna need a curl cream, a gel, a foam, or a mousse if you want that hold. Hold is what gives you longevity with your styling. And I will say, even lazy styling is better than doing nothing. But if you do have the energy, applying in sections, smoothing your product through with a brush to ensure even application, brushed through versus not brushed through. And even applying enough. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. I know you hear that. That's another great way to make sure that your products are thoroughly saturated in the hair. When you hear the squish, okay, there's enough water, there's enough moisture. And then if you're seeing the product kind of squeeze out from between your fingers, you know there's enough. You don't want too much, but you want enough. Believe it or not, a lot of frizz comes from not actually using enough product at all. So make sure you're laying it on, especially if you're using a foam. I don't think you can ever really overuse a foam. They're the best, the most lightweight to help mold the hair. Now, the thing about that hold is you need to set it in place. Just try to dry that hair completely to set your products in place, and that way your style is held in place. Capiche? Now that isn't just it, I do have some bonus tips. If your hair is extremely damaged and you're dealing with that loss of cuticle, oiling the hair before washing will help to protect it from shampoo. When you're applying your products, do so in the correct order. You always want to use your lighter products and products that are more water-based and humectant-based that are going to draw that hydration into your hair first and foremost. And then you want to use your richer, creamier and or silkier conditioners, or even your thicker gels. That goes after. And the oils when you're styling should always be last. As your sealant, always finish your hair before going out into humidity with that protectant oil. But even before you do that, always dry your hair to completion. If possible, dry your hair completely. Mid-diffusing pro tip, if your towel or robe is wet, take it off. Take it off, especially if your hair is long, because that wetness on the towel is just gonna keep reactivating the wetness in your hair, making especially the underneath here frizzier. Don't use things you don't need to use. It's important to use the right products for your hair. For example, if your hair is already soft, it's already moisturized, you don't need a lot more conditioning products. What you do need is more hold. Use more hold. Sometimes if you notice halfway through drying, oh, wait a minute, it's starting to frizz, you can go back in and apply a little extra hold. Put it on. And unlike what I can't stop doing, try not to touch your hair too much. Don't mess with it. You know me, I always like to sleep with protection, and I gently contain my hair during workouts and then quickly remove that hair tie, scrunchie, or scarf while the hair is still wet and sweaty. That way the hair can air dry in its natural state, or you can do a little diffusing. That is, if your hair was curly. My God, if you worked out but you have a blowout, keep that hair snatched and let it dry, slick back, or just dry those roots. At that point, you're fighting the curl though. That's a different thing. To make a long story short, you might have multiple types of frizz at once. You could be dry and damaged. You might be unstyled, and that's why you're humidity reactive. Frizz is a little complex, but it is treatable and preventable. Preventable is really the key, so you don't have to worry about fixing frizz, especially after humidity. Sometimes there's just no saving it besides styling. But if you do want a video on how I fix my hair after humidity has hit it beyond belief because I didn't do my proper styling, let me know. If I may, just take one moment to get a little sappy. And while I don't often get serious, I can't do this seriously. This YouTube channel is my life's work. And this is serious, okay? This is my career. So if you're not in, get the fuck out. Should I put rings on? This channel has been a labor of love over 7 years. It has been my escape. It has been my safe place. I always proudly brag that we have the best corner of the internet. The place that can be very scary, here it is not. There's just something about the curlies. Everyone that's here, that is in my comment sections, if you've ever left me a comment, if we've ever interacted, if I've ever met you in person, or if I've given you a giveaway, it is such a joy to get to interact with this incredible community. I'm so lucky that I get to work an absolute dream job day in and day out to bring you these videos every week. And so thank you so much for being subscribed and for coming back and watching. I have never taken any of this for granted, and I want to express my gratitude to at least, at the bare minimum, 7 of you in honor of 7 years. But these are gifts that are only for my subscribers. So if you're not already subscribed, good thing for you, it's not too late. I would love to know how long you have been watching. If you remember what your first impression of me was, let me know. And do not, just some housekeeping rules, do not respond to anyone in the comment section saying that you've won, because I'm not going to message you in the comment section of this video. I will directly message you either on Instagram from my verified account, or I will email you because I'll have your email, something that a scammer will not. Hi, I'm Dry Frizz.
Hi, I'm Wet Frizz.
What the fuzz?
And I'm wearing blue.
I know, it's kind of perfect. It'll look dry like the Sahara Desert. This fucking shirt.
Stop. No.
Amanda, come on! Help me! Help me! I wore this outfit to pay homage to the OG video making, but I am not the same Mel that was in that 20-year-old body. You're such an easy sell. Hold on. Looks too. This thing is very uncomfy and unflattering. This dress gives the candy corn version of the blue and black versus white and gold dress debacle. You know what I mean? I am done. I'm gonna declare it now. I thought it was gonna be cute if I continued to wear the same outfit as I wore in the same video, but I think I'm done. I'm going to retire this dress. I'm scared to see those up close shots. Oh no. Wait, I kind of love this look. It's serving. I had a librarian that always had this one piece of her bang pop out of her glasses that she would put on the top of her head. And that's how I feel. Mrs. Bullfont, if you're watching, you're an icon. By the way, this is my morning pages notebook. You cannot read them, but we've been doing a lot of writing as per the artist's way.
Don't touch it.
Linda,
just don't touch it.
I'm trying to touch it. Look how fast your ends are drying because they're, fuck, I want to cut them right now. Can I cut them?
No.
I can't cut them?
No.
Not intended as medical advice. We've changed a lot over the 7 years, but some things don't. It's 2:30 a.m., unfortunately, for me. That'll do it. So on that note, good night, everybody. I need to go wash this face so badly. I have to do it in the shower. There's so much makeup on my face. It's a shower situation.